Welcome to the Craig Mostyn Group 15-minute learning. IT training designed for the Craig Mostyn Group by Tiles. This course is titled Outlook 2, and there's some more hints and tips for working with Outlook 2013. First of all, we look at rules that we can apply to email messages and put them into folders that we want them to go in. Then we go on to look at email groups, where we can create groups of recipients from our people or contacts lists to create a group, enable us to send an email to all of them at once. Then we have a look at the zoom slider, very quick way of expanding or reducing text to enable you to view an email easier. And finally, the search folder, where we are searching regularly using the same sort of criteria. We can create a named folder with that search pre-built into it. So here in Outlook 2013, we're going to look at creating a rule. So a rule will tell, in this case, an incoming email where I'd like to put it. So first of all, I'm going to decide where I want to put it, and I'm going to put it in this folder, in a new folder called Cadet. So that's ready for my rule. And then you can see the new folder is there. I go to File, Manage Rules and Alerts, New Rule, and here's some of the options for a new rule. So what I'm going to do is move a message to a folder. Click Next, and it defaults to from people or a public group. But in this case, I'm going to assume I don't know the specific sender. I just want anything sent from a debt. So I'm going to select specific words in the sender's address. And then in the bottom bit here is where you define. So the specific words I'm looking for are a debt. Could add more, as you can see. You can add a list separated in quotes, but we're only going to use one. And then I can say next, and it says specified folder. So I'm going to move it to a folder that we just created called debt, and we're done. There's all sorts of other options that you can use. That here we're looking at exceptions, so you can say except if this or except if that and so on. But generally it's just fairly straightforward. If something has this in it, then put it somewhere, which is what we're doing. And we're going to name the rule a debt. When you first set up the rule, you can choose this box to run the rule on messages that are already in the inbox, or just turn on the rule and away it will go. Say finish, and you can see there we've got a rule now called a debt. Okay. So now whenever this account gets a message with a debt in the name of the email, so debt.com.au, then the email will be put in that folder. To go back and check your rules again, go into manage rules and alerts as we did before. If I want to change this one or delete it, I can change the rule and go and work on it, edit the rule settings. We see what was there before, or I can delete it, or I can say run the rule now. So rules are fairly straightforward just to use the simple options, but you can stack rules on top of rules to make it as complicated or as advanced as you wish. So that's how we set up a rule. So moving on, we're going to create a mail group. Now, if you want to send an email regularly to a selection of people, could be half a dozen, could be 100, to save you selecting those people from your contacts list each time, you can set up an email group. So I'm going to right click on people and open them up in a new window. So people or contacts, the same thing. Open up full screen so we can see what we're doing. Now the most important thing before we start is that each person that you want to be in this group must already be set up in your list here, in your contacts. And then we can start a new contact group. We'll give it a name. In this case, we call it My Mates. And then all we need to do is add members. So we go to the Add Members button, click on that, and you can choose where it comes from, Outlook Contacts, and then you go selecting each one that you want. We'll have that one, we'll have that one, we'll have that one, and so on until you've gone and chosen all the people that you want to be in that group. And then click on OK and save and close. And there you see My Mates is already set up as a group. Now you can open My Mates and add or remove members as you wish to maintain it and keep it up to date. If you want to use it, we can go back to email, select new, to M for my, and you'll see it come out in bold when we get to My Mates, providing we've chosen the right address book, of course. So here I'm in the wrong one. So we go back to my computer, which is where I created it in that address book, and there it is, My Mates. So that's all it puts in the to column, but you see you've got a little plus sign next to it. If you wish, you can click on that and it gives you this notice saying it will expand the list, therefore it will write all the names across in there. If you say OK, we'll say OK, there they all are. So that's creating the group. Now the good thing about that group is you could create an email using multiple groups, or you could create a new group using groups that are already there. So let's have a go at that. We'll go back into people. We're working on this computer. We'll have a new group called Many Groups. And we can add members from here. So we can add one called Mail. We can add another one called My Mates. So that's a really quick way. So we could have one saying everybody, or we could have each division or whatever it might be, and then everybody. So we create the divisions first, and then the everybody is just a matter of collecting the divisions together. So that's it. Don't want that. And that's how we can build email groups. The real getcha is people forget that they have to create the person in the first place in their address book. Once you remember that, very straightforward to go to a new contact group and create one. Now here's a good little tip. People use a whole range of font sizes in their emails. Sometimes they use large fonts and you can't see much of the email in one go on your screen. And sometimes they use tiny fonts and you've got to go and find a magnifying glass or a new pair of glasses to be able to read the email. But down in the bottom right hand corner of the screen for your emails, you see this in Word and so on as well, you've got the slider to zoom. If you slide towards the plus, you zoom in, slide towards the minus, you zoom out. So if you looked at this and thought, well, I can't really see that very well, they've used a small font, grab hold of my slider, slide it out a bit, suddenly the text is really easy to read. But if they'd sent you an email with enormous text and you couldn't read it all properly, go to the minus side and it can make it really small. Obviously, if they started with big text, then that size would be bigger. So there you are, a little tip, using the slider to increase or decrease the size of the font on the page. Normally defaults to 100, and you can slide one way or the other. The next item is search folders. Now, quite often we regularly need to look for the same sort of items, the same collection of email, and we might be going up to search in mail and typing in criteria, the similar or the same criteria every day to find these collections of emails. Now we can preset some of that into specific folders that will go and have a look at our data and pull those emails meeting certain criteria into a particular named folder for us to use whenever we want. So you can see under each of these mailboxes there's an item called search folders. There's another mailbox, another search folder. Now if I click on that, right click, it gives me the option on the right click to create a new search folder. Click on that and I start getting the type of options that I can use. So you could just use one of those straight away to get mail from a specific person or something and put it in the search folder. What I'm going to do is create a custom one. So that will give us a selection of criteria to do all in one go. Click on choose, give it a name. I'm going to call this one Bank West and go into criteria. So I can search for words here, Bank West, and then I get some options. So if it's Bank West in the subject field only at the moment, it would collect them for me. I'm going to say subject field and message body. So anything at all with Bank West in it. Not going to restrict it to anything else. There's all sorts of choices you could use, but simply anything with Bank West in the subject field and the message body. There we go. Click OK, and OK, and OK again. And you can see immediately it's created this folder called Bank West. If I click on that, you can see it's searching through all of my data, all of my emails, and it starts building me a list of anything that refers to Bank West. Very handy for me. You can see the dates goes back to 2012 there, so going right the way up to the present time. So of course this will take longer or shorter time to build depending on how many emails you've got to reference, and that's the latest one today at the top, or Tuesday at the top, and there we are. So I go back to my inbox. My Bank West folder is still there, and at any time I can go into that and it shows me the details. So I can collect a few of those. There is a limit on the amount of search folders, but you can certainly have quite a few of them to create the searches that you want. Thank you for completing the course. Now please take a couple of minutes to complete the questionnaire. This will allow us to see how you're getting on with the courses, and it will allow you to provide information to us on what you would like to see in courses in the future. Thank you again.